Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bauerle.
Welcome into Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. This is a special edition of the podcast of the live stream. We are here breaking down and presenting the 2023 OUS Fantasy Football Awards. This is a huge list of amazing standout players, some not so much, which we'll get to that topic when it does come. But thank you so much for tuning in. I know a lot of shows do these award shows. Trust me, we have originality in these, super original content. Can't get any better than this, but make sure you go ahead and follow us on Twitter at OUSFFPod, at Josh Kimmel OUS, at Justin Bauerle, at Viking Dave 18. Of course, this could not be done without the Fins Talk Sports Network. We're very thankful to be on their network, at Fins Talk Sports Network on Twitter as well. Now, let me bring in my co-host of the evening, my producer, my main man, Justin Bauerle. What is going on, my guy?
What's good?
Oh,
We're still a little late. It's fine.
Yeah, we were a little late. We had to get dressed up. This does not come easy, guys.
It's so like the progression of the entire season. Like my first show, you're like, Justin, we don't wear sleeves on this show, and I'm like, okay. And then we started wearing sweatshirts, and now we're dressed up for fantasy awards. It's a special night.
It's a big moment. It's a big night. We have topics coming from, of course, the fantasy MVP, all the way down to the bust, breakouts. We have heists. We have everything going on in this show. But before we get into that, I just want to ask you, it's over. The season's over. We have talked on privately in text, but how did you do in your championships? Did you win? Did you make out? What's your ROI, bro?
Well, as we all know, I had 5 teams in the playoffs, 4 of which were first round buys. I made it to 1 championship and have this many rings to show this year. My team that you're in that same league, it's pretty good. Failed in the last week. I went into the final game. I don't know where Josh is going, but I went into the final game down 70, I think, with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Justin Jefferson. You would think those 3 could bring you a championship. I've been saying it all year. I'm not gonna take a victory lap, but Travis Kelce kind of pooped his pants this week.
Hey,
and David Njoku was better, and I played against David Njoku, and I had Travis Kelce. So
this is not an attack show. We're here to celebrate the season. By the way, I'm so sorry for your losses. Whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
6 championships.
Oh my God.
No, 6 championship games, 5 titles. I only have 1 ring to show for it right now. It's not even mine. It's the Lightning. But hey, I have won 5 titles out of 6. Whatever. 5 out of 26 leagues. I'm not here to boast. I did get a comment from one person saying, easy to win 5 titles whenever you're in 26 leagues. Guys, it's not. That means 26 waivers, 26 different leagues to trade offers.
It's tough.
26 teams that have injuries on it, 26 lineups to set. Guys, that is a lot of work. It consumes my time. So all you people out there, it's so easy to win when you're put it in perspective, guys. Managing 2 to 3 leagues, super easy. Managing 26, it's overwhelming. I don't recommend it.
I went from 4 to 11 this year, and it is tough. It's definitely tough. It's not for the weak. Again, it's spending 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a week on each of your teams at minimum. It gets tough. So it's not for the weak. Only do it if you really, really love fantasy.
So we are here to talk awards. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any more time. We are starting out with the Breakout Player of the Year. We have 4 great candidates. We have Jordan Love, Kyron Williams, James Cook, and of course, tight end for the Arizona Cardinals, my guy, one of my favorites. I had a fight to get him on this list. Trey McBride. Yeah, I did. There's a person here tonight that will not be named who was like, why should he be on the list? I heard you, Dave. But we do have these 4 people on this list. Now, Justin, I want your thoughts on it. We already know the winners, just let you guys know. We all debated this. It took about an hour on New Year's Day for us to debate these winners and go through it. So we already had our debates offline. We're going to bring
We were here Monday morning. Dave was still in bed. And we were sitting here fighting out who won each of these categories. This is a good one. Breakout Fantasy Player of the Year. These are guys that probably didn't do great last year and did great this year. All 4 of these guys did great this year. Jordan Love started as top 3 in the a top 3 QB in the start of the year. Kind of went down. Had a good comeback at the end of the season. Kyron Williams missed 4 games, still finished as RB5, I think, this year. James Cook, the Bills started learning how to use a running back now other than Josh Allen. And then Trey McBride, who literally had the Cardinals get rid of Zach Ertz because he was doing so well. This one was a really, really good one. I think Jordan Love has probably one of the brighter futures of this group. I know you really love Trey McBride. James Cook, I can never be too sure about running backs. I mean, they give you, 3-4 good years before they kind of fall off unless you're Derrick Henry. But, yeah, what are your thoughts on this list?
So Jordan Love to me was a crazy one to think about. Like, wow, he actually did finish quarterback 5. That's pretty incredible. Finishing ahead of Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff. A true breakout season. In my eyes. Then you look at Kyron Williams, same thing. I thought he was just a guy. That was my thing. I was going to give the lazy analysis of, oh yeah, he's just Myles Gaskins from the Dolphins. Oh yeah, he's just James Robinson. He's not going to come and do anything. And then he got hurt, and I'm like, yeah, he's done. He won't come back. Like, he'll be useless. And he came back and he dominated straight up. Like, so maybe he is the real deal, Holyfield. We'll see if the Rams actually stick with the running back more than one season. Very hard to say with them. James Cook, running back, a 12 on the year, I believe. He's a guy, 11 actually. He's a guy who I didn't really put anywhere on my list of anywhere because I didn't draft him, didn't talk about him, didn't think about him. He was not on my radar at all. Not once. I'm in 26 leagues. Not once did I face him. Not once did I start him. Not once did I think about James Cook. Seriously, that's the legit truth. He was someone that was not on my radar. But wow, running back 11. That's just incredible. And Trey McBride. We all know my love for Trey McBride. He took over week 8. Since week 8, he was the tight end 2 at that position, right below David Njoku since week 8. 15.2 fantasy points per game. To put that in perspective, Kelsey in that time, 10.5 fantasy points per game. Trey McBride really was a true breakout in the sense of the word breakout. But the winner of the fantasy breakout player of the year, Kyron Williams, Los Angeles Rams. So yes, Kyron is the guy, man. He's the guy moving forward. He is going to be the guy drafted in the first, second, third round next year. Obviously, probably not first, but second, third round. He is a bell cow running back in this offense. I do believe that the brighter future is ahead for this young running back. Like I said, I didn't see it coming. Thought he was just a guy, but I think I was wrong on this one. I think he showed out in the past 6 weeks of the season that he is the real deal.
He had a couple good weeks. He had 4 good weeks before he got injured, 2 mediocre weeks. And then he got injured and out 4 weeks plus a bye week. So you're out 5 weeks there and you come out with a 38-point game and then you don't really slow down really. So Kyron had a fantastic season.
You really did. Okay, so congratulations, Kyron. The trophy, the award is in the mail. Make sure you check that. It's going to be awesome.
We should get awards for these guys.
We really, just
send it to their agents. Send it to the teams, all their practice facilities.
Send it to the teams. Yes. All right. The heist of the draft. The heist of the year, the player that was drafted super, super late that excelled for you. So the nominees are Raheem Mostert. Come on. Sam Laporta, Jacoby Myers, and Rashee Rice. Now, in my opinion, there's 2 of these players that shouldn't be on the list, but they are because they were very lowly drafted. Now, how often were these players started once they were on teams? Justin, I'm going to go to you again. Where do you lie on Rashee Rice and Jacoby Myers there? We're talking about here?
Yeah, it's interesting. Jacoby is another one of those guys that I feel like he could have ended up being on the previous award, because he did have a very solid start of the year. He ended up finishing as wide receiver 31, had a very good start, kind of tailored off there for a little bit. Rashi Rice, as a rookie, you never know what a rookie's going to do. You never know what a rookie's going to do. That's a sad thing. But being on the Chiefs, you figure, probably should do well. We don't know. Raheem Mostert, 31 years old again. Is that going to be their running back? Like, you don't know. You think A-Chain's going to be their running back. You got all of these running backs. Raheem Mostert ends up being the guy. And then Sam Laporta. I mean, we all expected Sam Laporta to do well, but tight end won well.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're going to see a trend on these award guys. These guys are multiple nominees, so we will have different tips and stats on each player. We don't want to bust our load on every single category because trust me, you'll hear about Mostert and Laporta more throughout the show. This one is pretty simple to me, but let's just break it down for you. Raheem Mostert was drafted behind Achane in the drafts because we all thought Achane was the guy. We always, everyone in the fantasy industry thinks about younger is better. Every single person. It's becoming a joke at this point. Running back 41 drafted, Raheem Mostert. Achane was 40. Of course, we already know where Raheem Mostert finished. Just dominant, career high in touchdowns, career high in a ton of stuff. The guy was unstoppable, running back 3. But Sam Laporta, I was at the Scott Fish Bowl live draft in Orlando with Dirtbag Dave, and I remember seeing somebody draft Sam Laporta in like the 5th round, and we just laughed. We couldn't stop laughing. And this was like, because these are well-known, like there's players in the Scott Fish Bowl that we were at that are like well-known, X people. That doesn't mean anything in real life, but on X, they're a big thing, but in real life, they're really not. I didn't mean it that way. But what I meant is like whatever. Interpret that the way you want to interpret it. But here's the point. We laughed. We're like, Sam Laporta, what a joke. Well, he came out to be the tight end 1, not fantasy points per game tight end 1, but still tight end 1. He beat out Travis Kelce, even though Kelce had a higher fantasy points per game. But that's neither here nor there. So with further ado, I have the winner in this envelope right here, this makeshift envelope. The winner is, drum roll, please. Oh, come on. Raheem Mostert, of course. The heist of the year. What's up, Raphael? The heist of the draft. Raheem Morris was the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Raheem Mostert is the steal of the 2023 fantasy draft. This might be his last year, though. Yeah, Raphael, we're doing the fantasy awards. Thank you for showing up late. I know the cocktail bar was busy. I know you had to cash out. I know you had to make it into your seats. I understand. Like, I used to go to award shows and games all the time. I understand. I hope you're drinking something nice and cold over there. Wide receiver St. Brown. He's not nominated tonight. We're not talking about Sun God, unfortunately.
Are we asking for sit start suggestions tonight? Like, are you playing the week 18? If you are, get a different league.
All right. Our next award is going to be the Blue Tint Award. The award, it's not a good award. You don't want to win this award. This award crushed your team. Justin Jefferson from the Minnesota Vikings, Mark Andrews from the Baltimore Ravens, Aaron Rodgers from the New York Jets. I almost said Green Bay Packers, and Nick Chubb from the Cleveland Browns. All of these just destroyed your fantasy team. All of them, every single one of them. So it's very difficult to find out who's going to win this award.
Yeah, this one is tough. And we fought. I'm pretty sure we fought on this one for quite a while. All of these are different. I mean, for very different reasons. Justin Jefferson, you're drafting as 101. You're drafting him as the best player in fantasy football. You want him to be the best in fantasy football. Go ahead and answer Josh's question here.
No. I want David to see it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you're drafting him to be the best player on your fantasy team, not just on your fantasy team, but in the in your league. Mark Andrews, you're drafting him as probably a top 2, if not probably a top 3 tight end in your league. You're expecting him to be your only tight end on your team. You're expecting to draft him and then not draft another tight end, and now he gets injured and you have to stream for the rest of the season. Aaron Rodgers. You really liked Aaron Rodgers on this list because he didn't just hurt himself. He hurt Garrett Wilson's production. That's about it. I mean, the rest of the team is trash anyway. So Garrett Wilson still had a decent year. And then, of course, Nick Chubb. What? Garrett Wilson finished as a top 24. We're not talking about Garrett Wilson. And then Nick Chubb, of course, you're drafting him in the first round. And that hurts for you, especially how quickly he got hurt. So hopefully you got Jerome Ford very early. But yeah. Any comments?
Yeah, I have comments, and I'm not done. And I'm not done fighting. I don't know if I should announce the winner and fight you, or just announce the winner. But we do have Justin Jefferson, who played multiple games this season and help you actually make your fantasy playoffs and help you win your fantasy. He did. He had decent games down the stretch. Yes, he did.
He didn't help you win.
He didn't help you win, but he helped you get there when he came back. Yes, he did. Yeah. Are you telling me that he was useless when he came back? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I mean, on my team, he was sitting in a flex position. So.
And then we had Nick Chubb, who totally destroyed his knee, and he won't ever play football again. He was a first-round pick. Mark Andrews, it was brutal, but if you got Isaiah Likely, you were fine. It came down to me, Aaron Rodgers, and Justin Jefferson. Aaron Rodgers destroyed an entire franchise. Garrett Wilson was drafted as wide receiver 9. He finished wide receiver 23. Yeah, that crushed his value. People were drafting Garrett Wilson in the second round because 21st overall, by the way, because of Aaron Rodgers and the trends there that Aaron Rodgers makes a number one receiver out of almost anybody when he wants to. Justin Jefferson, by the way, get back on him. How many games did he miss? He missed weeks 6 through 14. When he did come back, he scored. He had week 15 and 16 were very usable in the playoffs. You couldn't use Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. I'll tell you that. And Justin Jefferson didn't sink an entire franchise.
But you're not drafting Aaron Rodgers to be QB1. You're drafting Aaron Rodgers to be like QB14. Like, he's not a starting quarterback on your fantasy team, whether you drafted him or not.
But you're missing the point. If you stacked Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson like a lot of people did, not only did you lose your quarterback, your number one quarterback, you lost your number one receiver. Your number one receiver from day one, from 4 plays into the NFL season, went from top of the line, borderline wide receiver 1, superstar. We'd be talking about him as breakout player of the year, to wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 2. That's the whole point. So without further ado, the winner of this award is Justin Jefferson.
You got outvoted.
I got outvoted.
He finishes the overall 100th player. He was drafted to be one. He dropped 99 spots.
It does stink that he got hurt. He does stink. But mind you, he was a wide receiver 1, like not the one, but A1, weeks 1 through 4. So therefore, he got you those wins early on. So you started out 4-0 most likely.
And then he probably tanked your team because
then he got hurt.
Now you're relying on your 24th overall pick to be your best player.
Yeah, but not only did you lose Aaron Rodgers, like I said, you lost Garrett Wilson. You lost the potential of maybe a Dalvin Cook revival. He'd be a lot better, I believe. I think a quarterback does make a running back better in some situations. And you're missing out on the potential of that offense, of that New York Jets football team, because they had a solid defense. They'd be playing in plus territory almost all the time because of that defense is so solid. With a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, you're talking Garrett Wilson maybe potentially being the wide receiver 1 overall, but instead, because he had Zach Wilson and a bunch of bums thrown into him, he was wide receiver 23. Aaron Rodgers deserves this title. I mean, nobody wants to win this title. Nobody wants to win this award, but Aaron Rodgers deserves it because, not like I said, and last word on this, not only did you lose your franchise quarterback, you lost your superstar receiver in the process. That's it.
It's a lot of good season.
I was outvoted by a Vikings fan and by Justin.
Garrett Wilson still had a very serviceable year.
Oh, yeah, serviceable. You didn't draft him. You didn't draft him to be serviceable. You drafted him to be special.
He had 5 weeks under 10 points. That's not even that.
You didn't draft him to be serviceable. You
didn't draft Justin Jefferson to be the 100th best fantasy player in the year, did you?
What's his fantasy points per game?
We're not talking about Garrett Wilson. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
What's his fantasy points per game? Justin Jefferson. I bet you it's up there. I need to check that. 1, 2, 3, 4.
37.
1, 2, 3.
half.
Fifth in points per game. So when he played, he was solid.
And then he missed 7 weeks, which probably lost you 7 games.
Listen. I was outvoted. I'll take my L. I'll take my
Take
L.
your L.
I will. Next award. We have the moment of the year, the game of the year, the fantasy moment of the year. We have Tyreek Hill. I don't have these written down, the points. Hopefully you do, Justin. I'm not prepared for that. I have notes everywhere. Just not
God.
Tyreek Hill, week 1.
He had 44.5 points.
44.5 points.
Yep.
Devon Achane, week 3.
51.3.
Amari Cooper, week 16, semifinals of your championship.
51.5.
And Jamar Chase, week 5.
52.2.
It's hard to choose, man, because the person, the regular Joe, I would say, well, who scored the most fantasy points? Who scored the most fantasy points? That should be the moment of the year. That's not how I see things. I see things in a deeper way. I look beyond, I read between the lines. I go throughout the forest and the trees. I don't know how to say these sayings, guys. I'm not that smart. But I will say this. Achane, I would throw that out instantly because nobody even started him. Jamar Chase, same situation. I would throw that out. So random week 5. It comes down to 2.
And also, Achane, like, who didn't score more than 30 points on the Dolphins that week? I mean, they scored 70 points on the Broncos. Like, everybody scored fantasy points in that week.
So it comes down to 2 people, and I'd like to get your opinion on this because I think this was another split. I think I lost.
This was another split. We have one guy who came out, broke out, and said, I'm still that guy with Tyreek Hill. Then you got Amari Cooper, who is in the playoffs at this point, week 16. This is to get you to the championship. You're hoping that he does well, and then he just busts out 51.5 points on you or on your opponent and single-handedly got people to the championship round or eliminated them from the playoffs, one of the two, however you want to look at it. Luckily, I didn't have to play against Amari Cooper at all in week 16, so that didn't really affect me. So you're looking at the guy who got you 1 week 1 win, followed by a bunch of other wins, or the guy who got you to the championship.
And it's about 1 game. That's what everyone's got to think. It's about 1 game. But here's the difference. And I will read the winner right now, and then we'll get into the debate because we do have a debate. The winner of the Fantasy Moment of the Year award goes to Amari Cooper, week 16 in the playoffs. He was bananas that week. Unbelievable. I cannot hate on this pick because it was so meaningful. It was in your semifinals. But I will say this. If you're starting Amari Cooper in your semifinals, you do not deserve to be there. And the teams that started Amari Cooper in their semifinals, they got to the championship game and they all lost because Amari Cooper didn't play. 1, and 2, your team wasn't even good enough to get to the championship game. You got lucky. I played against 2 people that had Amari Cooper the week before, and I just crushed them. I destroyed them because their team was complete, total ass. And I said, okay, you got there because Amari Cooper scored you 1,000,000 points. You're done because my team's really good. That's what happened with the Amari Cooper managers in my leagues. Okay, I'll just say that in my leagues. Tyreek, on the other hand, set a precedent. Week 1, I am here. Not only was he the highest scoring wide receiver that week, the highest scoring person that week. He outscored, second most was the Dallas Cowboys defense, 37. We should have put that on the list. Dallas Cowboys 37. But he outscored Brandon Ayuk, who was a wide receiver 2 that week, by over 12 points. Tyreek Hill, I put it on this podcast. I drafted him. My first round picks, besides 2 leagues, were Tyreek Hill. I told y'all he was going to finish up there. I told y'all he was going to be over Chase. I told everyone this. And that when I saw week 1, I'm like, yep, he's doing it. He's going to set records this year. If he never got hurt, he'd be setting records right now. And it's unfortunate he's not. But Amari Cooper, he's the reason why you lost your championship game. Like, he's the reason why you got there and lost.
Also, hopefully Tyreek Hill's house is fine in Miami.
What happened to Tyreek Hill's house?
You didn't hear about that? Oh, no. Tyreek Hill's house caught on fire today.
That's unfortunate. Seriously, that's unfortunate.
It is.
All right. That award is over. We have the next award, which is not great. The The mid player of the year, which means the bust of the year for all you new viewers out there. We have Travis Kelce, who was drafted at I have all these, by the way, drafted as tight end 1, 5th overall. We have Tony Pollard, who was drafted running back 8 overall, but 16th overall, so second round pick. We have Jalen Waddle, who was drafted wide receiver 11, 34th overall. And we have Trevor Lawrence, who was drafted at quarterback 8, 55th overall. These were all tough. These all killed your teams, man. We all had high hopes for Lawrence. That was a lot of people's breakouts, a lot of people's bold predictions. Would he be? He'd finish, quarterback 1, 2, or 3. Then we have Jalen Waddle, who, of course, is an excellent player, but riddled by injuries this year. Tony Pollard, who just found out he wasn't that guy. And Travis Kelce had his worst season in a very, very, very long time. I got a lot on this one. So if you want me to get started, or you can talk and I can just prepare.
Well, I mean, you've answered a lot of it. So, yeah, you covered a lot. Everybody knows my opinion on this topic, I think. So, yeah, Tony Pollard, yes, Wingate. Tony Pollard. Oh, sorry. Pollard was very bad this year.
Sorry, we're both putting up comments at the same time. Guys, Raphael, I will get to your questions a little bit later in between. I just wanted to put out there that I acknowledge it, okay? But I will get to your questions after this topic, I promise. We all think Travis Kelce sucked this year, and I have evidence to prove it. We have Pollard evidence. I got a bunch right here, so be prepared. Strap in, folks. Travis Kelce was the tight end 2 this season, 219.4 points, 14.6 points per game, which was number 1. He was still number 1 in fantasy points per game. He was the number 1 tight end in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the last 7 years. Okay? Every single year he's progressed. Even the season where he was a tight end 2, he didn't progress, but Mark Andrews definitely took him over. He had 300 plus points in 2 of those years. He had 250 in almost all of them. This year he only had 219. His lowest point total since 2015. Since 2015. That was a very long. My son wasn't born yet. Every single year. Now you go, Josh, why was he a bust? He was tight end 2. Like what? He's tight end 2. He's tight. Okay, guys, here's where it's different. We're expecting the 300, the 260, the 312, the 250, the 299. We're expecting those numbers from him, not 219. And ADP will prove that. In 2016, he was drafted in the 4th round, 54th overall. 2017, okay, we learned. Okay, he's awesome. 2nd round, 36th overall. Wow, he's okay. 2018, he's a little bit better. 2nd round. I should have said 3rd round. Sorry, guys. 2nd round, 25th overall. 2019, 1st round. 2020, 20th overall. 2021, 7th overall. Last year, 14th overall. This year, 5th. So his ADP was going like I guess you would go down in the staircase because you're going from high numbers to low numbers. I guess, or was that high, Joe? What would you do that, Justin? ADP, does ADP rise or does it
Your
fall?
ADP rises.
Okay, so his ADP rose. It's fantasy 101.
Go up the list.
He went up the list, and this year he freaking hit Everest. He hit the highest he's ever going to be drafted at 105, not just 105 overall. He was getting drafted above players like Austin Eckler sometimes, not everywhere. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill sometimes. Tyreek Hill a lot of times, actually, because I drafted Tyreek after Kelce everywhere. It's ridiculous what happened. Weeks 2 through 7, he was amazing, 20.8 points per game. He just freaking crushed it. But weeks 8 through 17, this is where he hurt you. He was tight end 9, 11.9 points per game. Jake Ferguson and Cole Kmet was better than Travis freaking Kelce. Since week 8, he averaged 5 catches for 51 yards and had 1 touchdown in that time. Let me repeat that. And clip this. Travis Kelce from week 8 to present, averaged 5 catches a game, 51 yards a game, and had 1 total touchdown. All right. Just wanted to get that out there. Tony Pollard.
I knew this though, because this is my argument last week on our start sit section. So
Tony Pollard tied with DeAndre Hopkins in Ford with 206 fantasy points. I just had to bring that up. 8 games, not even a running back 2, as in he was outside the 2. He was a running back 3. That in 8 games, that's half the season, guys. Only 4 games did he actually reach 100 total yards. He had a career high in attempts, no excuse. A career high in receptions, no excuse. career low in yards per touch, yards per carry. The guy just isn't built for a bell cow running back, and we try to tell you that. We try to tell you that. Jalen Waddle, wide receiver 29, we already talked about that. Jaden Reed outscored Waddle. He only had 2 games as a wide receiver 1 this season. Only 2 games. Jalen Waddle had 2 games as a wide receiver 1. I don't know what to say about that. Trevor Lawrence only had 2 games as 300-yard passer. He only had 5 multi-touchdown games. He had a career low in passing attempts, 521. These guys all sucked. Considering the fact where their ADP was. So the winner is, come on, we don't have to tell. It's Travis Kelce. Shake it off, buddy. Shake it off, Travis. You really sucked. You blew it. You screwed the pooch. You lost everyone titles. You lost me titles. This is the first year of my life, and I've been playing fantasy. I don't know since high school, and I'm old. I'm 38 years old. I've been playing since I was like 15 years old, so a long time. And I've never drafted a tight end in the first like 3 rounds ever in my life. This year I went all Hawkinson. I went all Kelce. Whoever I can get. That's what I did. Guess who freaking worked out for me? Everyone but Kelce.
Mm-hmm.
Suck it, Kelce.
Yeah, no, this was I should have traded him last year at the end of last year after having a great season. This was my draft strategy going into this year, is not to take a tight end unless you're getting, unfortunately, Kelce, Hawkinson, or Andrews within the first 4 rounds. If not, wait till like round 10 because you can find somebody. Kelce screwed a lot of people, especially in the championship week, putting 4.6 up. He's dynasty's out of here for me. So,
all right. So we got a question in the chat from Raphael, one of our viewers, every single week. Thank you so much. Najee Harris and T. Higgins going to play this weekend. I hope. T. Hill home fire is not the same as Andre Rice's son issue. LOL. Okay, gotcha. Hey, Raphael, I'm going to say this with all sincerity and nice as I possibly can. Seriously, because I like you. I love you, actually, because you're here every single week. Stop playing week 18. Stop playing the last. Stop, Raphael. Leave that league. Tell everyone if you're the commish, fire yourself.
How many starting quarterbacks are out this week because they're just resting?
What's going on, Fantasy Football RPG? Thanks for showing up tonight.
Yeah, you're about to get all the good awards now. So.
I'm not going to lie to you, Raphael. I have not even paid attention. This is my week off. I was on vacation. I did not want to even think about fantasy. All my fantasy leagues are wrapped up. All the payouts have been paid out. All the payouts have been received. Fantasy, in my opinion, for season long is over. Stop playing it. But we do have a playoff league if you want to join it. We have a playoff league that's going to start for the playoffs. Justin made it up himself. If you really want in, DM one of us. DM our OUS FF pod account. We do have a fantasy. In the description of this. The link is also in the description. So we do have a fantasy playoff league starting right after the season. All right. So we have our next priority waiver wire pickup of the year. This one's also an awesome one. And it's fun because we did a priority waiver show every single Tuesday at noon. And we actually kept all of our list of what we should do. Hopefully Justin has that pulled up because I don't have any data on this one. Of course he doesn't. He's only the producer of the show, guys. Why would he? What's up, Bobby? What's going on? We have Puka Nacua, wide receiver, Los Angeles Rams. Jerome Ford, one of my favorites of the Senior Bowl that year, coming out of the Cleveland Browns. Kyron Williams, Los Angeles Rams. We have 2 Rams. And C.J. Stroud, the worst quarterback of the draft, according to everyone, including myself. I missed on that one. Josh Wingate, host of the Beer and Sports podcast I do every Monday night here on the Fins Talk Sports Network. He told us all Stroud was the best. I didn't listen. So, any thoughts on this one?
We want to talk about weeks that we told people to go pick these guys up.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua, week 2 after his week 1 performance.
Everyone knew that. Yeah. That was an obvious one.
Yeah. Jerome Ford, week 3. We were talking about him already. And I think that might have been actually either right before or right after the Nick Chubb injury. It might have been
you have the roster sit percentages of those weeks as well?
Yeah, so Jerome Ford was 18% rostered in week 3. Puka Nacua was 8% rostered in week 2. Kyron Williams, we started talking about. He was our number 1 priority waiver wire pickup in week 3 with Jerome Ford. He was rostered 62%.
So he was already
actually, I think I'm sorry. He was on our list in week 2 as well when he was rostered 7% We said go get Kyron Williams. Week 2 of the season, 7%. Go get him. And then CJ Stroud hit our list. We started watching out for him in week 4 when he was only rostered 20%. And by week 5, he was our number 1 priority waiver wire pick at 48%. We've been saying get all these guys since week 2. Week 2,
Yes.
week 2, week 3, week 5. These guys killed it.
I've been telling y'all to pick up Jerome Ford since the Senior Bowl when I was there 2 years ago, but that's neither here nor there. Guys in the chat, stop making fun of my age or I'll boot you. All right, I'm 38 years old. I'm almost a man. I'm almost 40. If you get that, you're the same age as me. So not much to say about this one, guys. One finishes a wide receiver 5, of course. Jerome Ford was serviceable. Kyron Williams was up there as well. CJ Stroud finishes a quarterback 1, but I'm just going to put it out there, get this one over with. We all know it. The winner is Puka Nacua. Of course. Puka is going to win this award. He was day 1 waiver. He was the first one. If you blew your load right away, you were thankful for it. I, in my home league, lost Garrett Wilson week 1. I know people want to think it's Aaron Rodgers was the hurt one. I lost Garrett Wilson week 1. I went out there and traded Garrett Wilson for Puka straight up because I already knew what was going to happen. I knew Garrett Wilson was Zach Wilson, was not the right move. So I decided I'd take my chances on this young guy who I like to say his name over my superstar receiver I drafted in the 2nd round. I cut ties right away, and I was thankful for it. I didn't pick him up off the waivers. I traded for him. He was already drafted in my league, unfortunately. I'm smart people in my league. But anyway, let's move on to the next award. This is also a controversial award. We had a big fight about this one. We're going to. And all you YouTube people are going to love this too. And this is not just a bit, guys. This is not a bit. This is real life. We'll keep it PG, Bobby. Keep it PG. All right. So we have Baker Mayfield from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. DJ Moore, not sure where he came back from, but he's with the Chicago Bears. Breece Hall coming off that injury, of course, New York Jets, and Deebo Samuel. I will say he can come back because he was total trash in the past 2 to 3 years, ever since that one awesome year. This is a big one for me, man. Our biggest video of all time includes one of these players.
Our top 3 videos.
Our top 3 videos are all centered around one person on this list, and I don't want to give those people because you people are mean, right? You're mean.
They're personal, man. They're so personal.
So go ahead and talk, Justin. I'm getting my notes ready.
So Baker Mayfield, as we all know, he played 2 different teams last year. Went into Tampa Bay to fill in for Tom Brady, and nobody thought he was going to play. I mean, it was Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, and we watched him in camp throw balls like way over his receivers' heads. He's currently QB9. Now, there's like 12 starting quarterbacks missing from this list, so take that for what you want. But
hey, we're not going to count all these injured players. Right?
He's QB9 this year. 28 for 10, touchdown to interception ratio, almost 4,000 yards so far this season. He's doing great. He's doing exactly what the Buccaneers didn't think they were going to do. We all thought the Buccaneers were getting Caleb Williams at the start of this year. That was wrong. DJ Moore, he's on this list because he's been kind of mid. Even with the Panthers, he was wide receiver 24, which is still a starting for wide receiver.
Whoa. Why is it okay? Why is it excellent when Garrett Wilson finishes 23, but with DJ Moore finishes 24, it's a big comeback? So if Garrett Wilson finishes in like 8 next year, he's comeback player of the year? Is that how it works?
Well, he can be a candidate, sure. You can mark that now.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
All right.
You're late on that one. He scored not even 200 fantasy points last year. He's scored 277 this year. He's wide receiver 8. Nobody expected that unless you were this guy. Then we got Breace Hall. Breace Hall literally came back from an injury last year, tore his ACL or whatever he tore. RB 42 after 7, and then he's finished as RB 4. Deebo Samuel, this is the big one here. Was wide receiver 40, came back to be wide receiver 14. He's had an incredible year. I know that just the jump for Deebo over DJ is just greater. I think this list really does come down to two people. It's the guy you weren't starting in wide receiver last year, but you were the year before, and you drafted him last year thinking he was going to be the same guy, and then the QB that you picked up off of waivers in like week 5.
I will not give away who wins this award yet, but let's just be honest here. We do have some legit people in the chat that should be candidates. Lamar Jackson coming off injury. Tua. Guys, this is how you know the show's not a work and this is real life. If we were a work show, all scripted out, we would have Tua in this award and he would win this award and he'd be our thumbnail because we are part of the Finstock Sports Network, by the way, and we would get a ton of views that way. I'm just saying. Sometimes we got to work the system, Justin. We got to figure that out somewhere, some way. But
well, we did because of this guy right here. So,
but I digress. I'm just going to go ahead and give out the winner, and then we'll debate right now. The comeback player of the year for 2023, playing for the best team of all sports and all of football right now. We're talking Deebo Samuel. Congratulations, Deebo. You came back. Not sure what you came back from, but you're having a great year. I really appreciate you winning me a couple championship games. Now, let me break down some numbers for you, Mr. Deebo. Last year, he had more targets in less games. Last year, he had a little bit less receiving yards, right? He had a lot more touchdowns, 5 extra touchdowns, same amount of catches, pretty much. Honestly, he's having almost the same kind of year. The only difference is just 150 to 175 more yards and the extra 5 touchdowns, which putting him at just 4 extra fantasy points per game. It's not a huge jump for me. I really wanted to get this in your guys' head during our pre-show debates whenever we did come up with these awards. But hey, I was outvoted again. The voice of reason was voiceless. Baker Mayfield, you nailed it, dude. He played for the Carolina Panthers. They booted his ass. Los Angeles picked him up out of desperation. They didn't re-sign him. They had no use for him. He wouldn't even, whatever. He comes to Tampa. I praise him in the preseason. I tell everyone he's going to sling the ball. He has nothing to lose. He has a couple rough patches. We make one 5-minute video of me saying he's not a starting quarterback. Then everyone thinks I'm the worst person on the history of the earth. But I'm the one who's been pumping him up all freaking season. So
you live in his city too. That's the best part. So
Baker Mayfield coming back from not 1, but 2 failures. He didn't fail in Los Angeles. He just whatever. That was just a side trip. But the dude's been failing ever since his rookie season in Cleveland. This is the ultimate redemption story. He's going to win the NFC South. He's going to make the playoffs. He's going to host a playoff game. This should have been Baker's award running away. There's no chance that anyone should have competed with him. But hey, like I said, I lost the award, and Deebo's been phenomenal, so I can't really argue with that much. Guys, I'm not just saying this to get in your graces. I'm really not. But in reality, we should have picked Tua for the views. We should have picked Tua for the views. What are we doing, Justin? What are we doing? Josh Wingate, I'm not against every winner. I'm just going against 2 guys who don't agree with me. And honestly, they're not the only ones.
Stop clicking it.
I want to click. Oh, yeah, sure. You're the producer. My bad. I just want to get your attention.
Yeah, Josh, I can see the spreadsheet where who everybody voted for. You're gonna find a common trend. My guy usually won. Either Dave agreed with me or Josh agreed with me, so it was just like, oh, okay. This was one of those that Josh didn't agree with me, but Dave did. So
yeah, Dave's not even on the show. His vote shouldn't count. Vote shouldn't count for Dave.
Well, we didn't find that out until this morning. I already had all the graphics made. I'm not remaking these. Come on.
All right, we have 4 more to go. 4 more awards to go. Let's go on to the Career Achievement Award. Now, I put these polls on Twitter, and I do have some Twitter votes I'm not going to pull up right now. But I will say this. I don't think a lot of people understood this award. The Career Achievement Award is their career in a whole, what they did throughout their entire career. And we don't think that they're going to be fantasy relevant on your starting roster going into 2024. This isn't they had a career year. This isn't they blew up, and because I saw a lot of votes for Raheem Mostert on this list on our Twitter post. I will say I wanted to get that out there before we do read off some stats and some awards and give out this award. So the player that we think had the best fantasy season career that is gone. They're just going to fade into the dust. So here's your nominees: Adam Thielen, Carolina Panthers; DeAndre Hopkins, Tennessee Titans; Ezekiel Elliott, New England Patriots; and Raheem Mostert, Miami Dolphins. Can I start this time?
Yeah.
Okay. They all had great careers. They all had amazing careers. I'm just going to read off everything that I have real quick. Oh, Justin just took himself off. Okay. All right. Adam Thielen had 1,787.2 fantasy points, PPR. These are all PPR. He averaged 178.7 fantasy points per season. 2018 was his best year, wide receiver 7, 307.3 fantasy points. He has 6 out of 10 seasons with 90 receptions or more. True PPR greatness right there. DeAndre Hopkins, 2,607.2 fantasy points, almost 1,000 more than than Adam Thielen. 237 fantasy points per season. That's a lot. In 2018, same as Thielen, was his best season. He was wide receiver 1, had 333.5 fantasy points. PPR again. Great career. Zeke Elliott had 1,992 fantasy points. 0.4. 249 per season. So he averaged more than Thielen and Hopkins, but less years because he's a running back. Let me read this real quick. Let me read this dominance of Zeke real quick. His rookie season, he was running back 2. Then he was 12. Then he was 5. Then he was 3. Then he was 9. Then he was 7. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight years of being a wide running back 1. And mind you, he was suspended for 6 games during one of those seasons. 2022, he was running back 22, running back 30 in 2023 so far. To put in that perspective, I put a very dominant running back against him, the same 2016 draft class, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry finished running back 45, 37, 16. Took him a while to get going. Then in 2019, when he finally broke out, he was running back 5, then 3. 2021, back to 22. 2022, 4. This year, he's 10. That I'm just telling you, the hardest runner in the NFL, Derrick Henry, could not compete with Zeke's fantasy stats. Could not. I had someone trying to tell me Barkley was a better fantasy player than Zeke. I almost laughed. I did laugh, actually. Raheem Mostert, the last one, 741.1 fantasy points total. 741. Sorry. 82.3 fantasy points per season. Only played in 12 or more games 3 times in his 9-year career. Played 9 or fewer games in 4 out of the 9 seasons. His best season was this year, 267.7 fantasy points, running back 3. That's it. That's all I got for you. Justin, do you got anything to say before we reveal the winner?
Well, Josh Wingate says that Elliott is the winner, or he is burning it all down. Apparently, he did not hear about Tyreek Hill's house either. So,
Wow.
And the winner
the winner is Zeke. Zeke has to be the winner. And I hate that he's in a Patriots uniform. I hate it so much. Mostert is great, obviously, but he only had 2 great seasons. To be perfectly honest with you guys, he's going to be 32 going into next season. I really don't see him repeating everything that he has. And trust me, guys, I got some interesting Mostert stats for you guys coming up in a different category. And I want you guys to stay tuned for that because Mostert is not what it seems. I'm telling you, it's not. So Zeke Elliott's the all-time winner. He's the all-time best running back in our generation. I love Zeke. I'm not going to say anything else about Zeke. You have anything to say? Oh, next. No, you have nothing to say.
I have nothing. I don't know what Josh is saying here. What is this graphic? It's Zeke Elliott.
It's Zeke Elliott of 2023, Josh. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Program, man.
Our next award, Blue Chipper, Rookie of the Year. We have Puka Nacua. Of course, we've spoken about him a lot tonight. CJ Stroud. He got some shout out to get a nominee tonight. We have Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs made an appearance. And Sam Laporta, 2 Lions. I'm going to let you go off because I just read off a whole damn page.
I mean, we talked about Puka and his excel this season. He was fantastic. I think he finished as wide
receiver 5.
Total overall 13. So pretty impressive for a rookie. CJ Stroud, we know how good he was. Unfortunately, at the end of the season, he had those concussions for 2 weeks, so he kind of came down in there a little bit, and unfortunately, just couldn't finish off the fantasy season for you. Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, both from the Lions. What a great stories from both of them. You're drafting Jahmyr Gibbs to sit behind, at the time, DeAndre Swift and then David Montgomery, and then they ship off DeAndre. It's just Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and then Montgomery's giving Gibbs the goal line backs. the goal line touches, which was weird. So Gibbs ended up propelling way up there. Sam Laporta, as we talked about, finishes tight end 1 this season. This one was actually kind of tough. I feel like did we split on this? Yes,
yeah, we split. My guy lost. My guy lost.
My guy won. So
okay, yeah, your guy won.
Oh, Gibbs are scripted. All right, Wingate. So yeah.
All right. Now that you're done, Puka, wide receiver 5, 284.4 fantasy points. I will say this, and I didn't know this. Maybe you guys watch the NFL Network a lot, or you're Rams fans, you knew this. Did you know that Puka is number 3 all time as a rookie receiving yards in a single season? His rookie season
surprised me.
He is 10 yards away from Jamar Chase, which is second, and I can't do math right now. Bill Graham, I have no idea who this guy is. 1,473 yards. Puka has 1,445. He can easily take that over and be the number 1 receiving yardage of all rookie seasons. Receptions. Waddle's number 1 at 104. Anquan Bolden's at 101. Puka's at 101. Puka can take Waddle's record this week 18.
Well, especially with Cooper Kupp out this week as well. So
Puka's having an all-time great. If he doesn't win Rookie of the Year in real life, it's scripted. I gave away the winner real quick. I will say this: since Cooper Kupp returned in week 5, Puka was wide receiver 8 still, 15.7 fantasy points per game, where Kupp was wide receiver 19. Puka was clearly the number 1 guy there, and Kupp couldn't really stay healthy. He's also 4th in yards after the catch, so he does catch these quick slants and make moves. CJ Stroud, quarterback 13 right now, currently the 5th most passing yards by a rookie. I did look up all these stats by rookies, by the way. He can pass Winston. He can pass maybe Cam at 4,051. He can't touch Herbert, and he's not going to touch Andrew Luck. He's 530 yards away from Andrew Luck. So if he didn't miss that game with the concussion, I think he missed 2 games, he would have broke Luck's record as well. CJ Stroud had a phenomenal season. He was only 6 weeks as a quarterback 1. So there's that. Jahmyr Gibbs, 8th, running back 8. That's wild to me. I just didn't see that coming. 5.6 yards per touch, which is 7th in the NFL. He was a top 3 running back, not just top 5, not a top 3 running back in 6 weeks this season. He won you weeks single-handedly. Week 7 through 11, small sample size. He was a wide receiver 1 with a bye week in there. He had a bye week and he was still wide receiver running back 1 in that time frame. He was phenomenal. So Gibbs does deserve to be on this list. And Sam Laporta, what can you say? Tight end 1, the first person to dethrone Kelsey since Mark Andrews a couple of years ago. Currently 5th in yardage all time as a rookie for the tight ends. Mike Ditka, by the way, is number 1. No one's touching him. But I did look up fantasy points, PPR, for all tight end rookies. Laporta's number 2 right now. He has the 2nd most fantasy points of all time as a rookie as a tight end. Mike Ditka's number 1. He can pass him, but the catch is it's 10 points away. But the catch is Ditka did it in 14 games. Laporta's gonna have to do it in 17 games. Mike Ditka was a freaking stud. Who knew? I didn't know that. I mean, I knew he was good, but not a freaking superstar. So Sam Laporta, doing what he did as a tight end. We thought Kyle Pitts was going to be that dude. We thought this guy, Jimmy Shockey, all these guys. Sam Laporta is actually the real deal Holyfield. So without further ado, the winner of this blue chipper rookie of the season, rookie of the year is, of course, it's Puka. It's Puka since day 1, literally since week 1. Congratulations, dude. Did he win 2 awards?
He did.
Wow. Waiver wire and rookie of the year. Look at you, Puka, taking home the first two-time. Puka 2 belts. Dude, Puka rules, man. I love Puka.
We're going to have to send him 2 shirts to the Rams facility.
So much.
The only problem with his rookie records that he could potentially break is that he has to play with Carson Wentz this week. So
that's funny. All right, so we have 2 more awards. These are huge. We have the Tom Brady. Let's go for it. Tom Brady playoff clutch performance. I don't know what we're calling it, but we're calling it the Brady Fantasy Playoff Most Valuable Player. We named this one. We named this off of Tom Brady because he is the most clutch player in playoff history. He is the GOAT. I can't believe I'm saying that on air. My friends are going to hear me say that. Damn.
I didn't say it, bro.
Anyway, we have David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns, Kyren Williams of Los Angeles. We heard that name a lot tonight, Kyren Williams. Lamar Jackson, Josh, You happy? We have Lamar. And we have CD Lamb, of course.
And CD.
Yes. And we have CD for you, Josh. Look at this.
Yeah.
This is your topic, bro.
Look at that.
Got you. So this is nice to see some different names, because we didn't hear from Njoku all night, Lamar, CD.
The studs. So I mean, we're getting the real good players. We had some BS players back there, some BS awards.
I don't think any of those players are BS. Speak for yourself, buddy.
The mid, the blue tint, the
Heist,
the Waiver.
Before we get into our little notes here, Josh, why do you want Joe Flacco to be said so bad, Josh Wingate in the chat? Why? He came in for a couple games. He was awesome. Congratulations.
Wingate, we talked about Joe Flacco being one of these guys because we did look at weeks 15 through 17 and who did great. Joe Flacco was the 8th best fantasy player in fantasy football over those 3 weeks. Unfortunately, he had not the greatest week 1 of the playoffs. He had 19.9, which is not what you want to see from the quarterback position.
Lamar had less that week, Josh. Or Justin.
Did he? Well,
yeah, he did.
Lamar finishes the 3rd. So he had 0.4 less. The thing is, he scored 36 points in the championship. So
yeah, I get you. Raphael, we're talking fantasy playoffs, weeks 15 through 17. So Joe Flacco didn't have to have body of work. I get where Josh Wingate's coming from. But if you're making the playoffs and you're in the semifinals, it's hard to pivot to Joe Flacco. And if you did, good on you, really. But really, the guys that made the playoffs had the Jordan Loves, the Jalen Hurts, the Josh Allens. Like, that's the majority. Trust me, I'm in 26 freaking leagues. I saw one team with Joe Flacco in all 26 leagues in the finals. Seriously. I mean, that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all you guys are playing Joe Flacco, but not in my leagues. But if you play him, congratulations.
The team I went up against had Joe Flacco, and they won, but they didn't start Joe Flacco.
There you go. All right. So let's get these people out here. And Njoku was the tight end 1 at that time, of course. 20.1 points per game at the tight end position. 29.9% of Njoku's total fantasy points, 29.9, almost 30%, came from weeks 15 through 17. So nearly 30% of his fantasy points came in this playoff run. That's pretty incredible. He had 22 receptions, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns off of 31 targets. Where was this all your career in Njoku? We really love to see it. CD Lamb had similar numbers as well. Was a wide receiver 1 in that time. 84 overall points, 28 points per game, 28, 37 targets, 26 receptions, nearly 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. Only 22.8 of his points came in this. I did a percentage on all of them, guys. 22.8 of his fantasy points came from this playoff run. And by the way, he did it all against playoff teams: Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. Lamar, quarterback 1 in this time, 26.2 fantasy points per game. That's incredible for a quarterback. 23.2 of his points came in the playoff run. He had 59 yards a game rushing per game. So 59 yards a game in rushing yards. That's pretty big because you expect Lamar to get more. You expect him to be at the 80, 70, whatever, like break out these huge games. In reality, he only averaged 49.5 rushing yards weeks 1 through 14. So he really stepped it up an extra 10 yards in the playoffs for you. I mean, it's only 1 point, but still, it's still there. Really what happened was last week against Miami, had 36.3, really won you that fantasy. If you had Lamar on your team, you definitely won. And then, of course, our last guy, Kyron Williams, was the running back 3 at that time, 23.7 fantasy points, 27.8 of his points came in the playoff run. That's understandable, though, because he did miss so much time. He had 76 touches, 120 yards a game, and 5 total touchdowns in 3 weeks. It's hard. This one's hard. This one was very difficult because if you had Njoku, it was a difference maker. It truly was, because no other tight end was scoring that many points in this playoff run. Nobody. Jawan Johnson was Jawan Johnson. God, that was embarrassing. Yeah, Jawan Johnson. Jawan Johnson was the tight end 2 in that time. Nobody was starting him. Sam Laporta, 48 point. He almost had 20 more points than Sam Laporta. And Njoku was a boss. So anyway, anything to say?
No. I told you guys all to start David a joke in your championships. So.
You did. And I told y'all to sell Kelsey. Hey, we're not talking about old stuff, Justin.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyways, yeah, no, this one was very tough. We went back. I think this probably took one of the longest times to figure it out because we had to really make sure that we got the right guy. And I think we did. He scored the most points in the last 3 weeks of the season, which is 3 weeks that matter the most. He got you to a fantasy championship, and then he won you the fantasy championship. This one was easy to me at that point.
Yep. So we're just gonna say it. CD Lamb, congratulations, Dallas. You won something. You won your the Brady Fantasy Playoff MVP award. So congratulations, Josh Wingate. Congratulations to you as well. Sorry, your boy Lamar didn't win. I think I rooted for Lamar. I think I voted for Lamar. Did I not?
You did not.
Did I vote for
Dave
CD?
voted for Lamar. You voted for CD. I voted for CD.
One of my guys. Okay. All right. Finally, I win one. Jeez. Now we're at the final award.
Wingate can't even be happy.
Dude, he's never happy.
Oh
when is Wingate happy? All right. Here's the final award. The we named this one after what I think is the greatest fantasy player of all time, the LaDainian Tomlinson Fantasy MVP Award. These are big hitters, big names. As you see, 2 Dolphins, of course, because we're getting those clout. We're getting that clout. We're getting them clicks. CMC, San Francisco 49ers. Tyreek Hill, Miami Dolphins. CD Lamb, Dallas Cowboys. And Raheem Mostert, Miami Dolphins. You can't go wrong with any of these picks, guys. You really can't, but there's only one. There's only one. So I'm going to let you talk. I talk so much.
This one's easy. I mean, it was. Okay, it wasn't that easy. You do have some good guys. Tyreek Hill was phenomenal this season. Finished as the 5th overall player in the league. CeeDee Lamb finishes 4th overall. Yeah, Raheem Mostert finishes RB2. Who expected that? Like, he was drafted as RB 38, something like that, and he finishes RB2. And had Achane taking snaps away from him. Christian McCaffrey plays for the best team in the league. And fortunately for him, Brock Purdy's really good at the screen. So all he has to do is dump it off to Christian McCaffrey and he can break open for literally everything, scoring the most points in the league this year with 391.3 total points.
I'm going to go ahead and break down the receivers real quick. Tyreek versus CD Lamb. So Tyreek was a wide receiver 2 on the season. CD was wide receiver 1. Through weeks 1 through 16, Tyreek was a wide receiver 1. Let me repeat that. Weeks 1 through 16, the bulk of the season, 99% of the season, Tyreek was a wide receiver 1. That's with missing a game due to injury. Tyreek played 1 less game than CD. I just said that. Tyreek had 0 games less than 10 points. So he had double-digit fantasy points in all games. 6 games less than 20 points. Only 6 games less than 20 points scored for Tyreek Hill. He had 8 games over 20 points. It's phenomenal. That's just incredible. CD Lamb out-targeted Tyreek by 10 targets. So he actually had 10 more targets than Tyreek. Tyreek Hill led the league in touchdowns, he had 12 touchdowns and he had 1,717 yards. Let's go to CD real quick. He had 9 games under 20. 9. It's a lot more than Tyreek. He had 7 games over 20. That's 1 game less than Tyreek. And he had 1 game under 10 points. So he had 1 game where he just completely shit the bed. CD Lamb had 7 games as a wide receiver 1. Tyreek Hill, 8 games as a wide receiver 1. They're really close, right? They're super close. That's why they cancel each other out. And that's what happens, right? People do cancel each other out in real life as well. Then you go over to Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert was a running back 3. How could he be on this list if CMC is clearly the 1, right? Clearly the running back 1. Well, it's where you drafted him. You drafted Raheem Mostert in the 12th, 11th, 10th round, somewhere down there. So you really had a chance to have both on your team, CMC and Mostert. Drafting Mostert that low is so valuable to your fantasy team because it allows you to have the assets of CD. You could technically, if I break this down, you could have Mostert and Tyreek Hill on your team and maybe CD because CD was going in the 2nd. So you could have went Tyreek, CD, and Mostert all the way down. Imagine that. That's the freedom that Mostert gives you in that 12th round draft pick that he gave you as. Anyway, he was drafted as, I just went through, running back 41, which we already talked about. Hit 1,012 rushing yards, 21 touchdowns. 21 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert had 20 touches inside the 5-yard line. That's tied for first with Gus Edwards. Only Gus and Raheem had more touches inside the 5-yard line. In 2022, I know I'm giving a lot of stats out there, but Jamal Williams, remember him? Remember Jamal Williams? Do we remember that phenomenal year with Detroit where he had a bajillion touchdowns? Well,
Yep.
32.4% of his fantasy points, 32.4% of Jamal Williams' fantasy points came from inside the 5-yard line that year. Raheem Mostert, man. 32.3% of his fantasy points came from inside the 5. Now I'm talking 6-yard line. The 95 more yards or 94 more yards didn't matter. Whatever it is, 95 more yards did not matter. Inside the 5 is where he made his money. It's where he scored his touchdowns. And it's not going to happen again. He had a great season. Good for him. I just wanted to get it out there. That's going to be a huge talking point throughout this season. It was a fluke year. I'm happy for him, and I'm so happy that the Dolphins had him on his team because I was trashing him all offseason, thinking we need a better player. We need a better running back. And honestly, guys, if you look at the numbers, he's very similar to Jamal Williams, and that didn't translate into the next year. CMC is clearly the winner. I don't need to read this. I don't need to fake like I'm doing an envelope on a little sticky note. CMC is clearly the winner here. He's the best player overall. We all overthought it. He should have been the 101, 24.5 fantasy points per game. The gap between CMC and ETN was 122.6 fantasy points. The gap between Allen and Hurts, these are all 1 and 2s, was 15.4. The gap between CD Lamb and Tyreek, 12.5 fantasy points. The gap between Laporta and Kelsey were 6. We're talking all those gaps combined don't even touch CMC's gap between him and ETN. Don't even come close. He was clearly the best at his position, clearly the best player on earth, clearly the number 1 guy. 13 weeks as a running back 1, 9 weeks inside the top 5 at the running back position, scored touchdowns in 13 games, 5 multi-touchdown games, career low, by the way, in receptions, career high in rushing yards, career high in touchdowns. It's CMC and nobody else, guys. It's his own class. We're in the CMC world, and we're enjoying it, man. At least I am. I told y'all. If you followed me on Twitter last year, I will retweet this when I get off this damn stream. And I clearly stated, maybe CMC's the 101, and we're all overthinking it. And nobody did it. And you should have. I didn't because I didn't have the 101.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the show, guys. Congratulations to our winners. Woo! Round of applause. Woo! Thanks for everyone. Seriously, thanks for everyone to show up. We had a big turnout tonight. I saw a lot of you guys hopping in and out. If you're still here, please drop a like on the show. It really helps out the show. We're growing. We're growing in bunches, man. Finstock Sports Network is growing. They're crushing it. Bobby, again, thank you so much for having us this year in the 2023 season. We hope to be back in the 2024 season. We will be putting out regular content throughout the off season. We'll be here every single week. Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, live. Me, Justin, hopefully Dave sometimes. We'll be breaking down content, dynasty-wise, keepers. We also have the Dynasty show going on Fridays at noon, so stay tuned for that as well. Like I said, fantasy never ends, right? We've already renewed our leagues for next season. At least I have. And we're ready for that Dynasty season to kick off next season because I'm ready for draft season. I'm ready for rookies. I'm ready for talking about Caleb Williams. I'm ready for Josh Wingate to talk about draft talk with us because he's going to be on the show because he was the only one that told us that CJ Stroud was a damn real player. That's it. And why did I compare CMC to trash ETN? Because ETN was running back too, buddy. That's why, Josh. And I can't really hear the music that well, so I'm going to poorly time this. But, guys, thank you again for watching. Please hit that subscribe button at OUSFF Pod, at Finstock Sports Network. All of our socials are at the bottom, guys. Let's get out of here. We'll see you next week, guys. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.